Hello, my name is Thomas Cadmon. I'm an Australian, and I want to open a conversation today about peacemaking and peace education. Back early in 2015, I co-founded a not-for-profit organisation called Intra-Faith Conflict Resolution. Now, the purpose behind it was to promote peacemaking and peace education. I believe that out there in the world, there's an incipient network, an emerging network of people who care about peace, who care to conduct a deep inquiry into the conditions of what makes peace possible. So, who are ICR people? Well, they are people that want to be peacemakers, aspire to be peacemakers, are already practicing peace, sowing the seeds of peace in their lives and in their relationships.
Which is essential now, I think.
Yes. But also people who aspire to teach, who want to be able to give people instruction and facilitation, more facilitation along the lines of peace and conflict resolution. So you've got the three letters ICR in this organisation. The CR, obviously, conflict resolution. But with the I, there are four possible renderings of the I. And this goes to the way I conceive peacemaking in the world. It happens at four different levels. So we have intra-personal conflict resolution, and that is the conflict resolution that we practice within ourselves. We're all doing work on ourselves, and we all need to achieve inner peace. After all, if we're to have more peace in our troubled world, it's not likely to grow out of conflicted personalities. But I think to the extent that we can establish inner peace in ourselves, we can extend that to the world. This is the mission. So intrapersonal conflict resolution is the first level, the most interior level, the level that involves me or you, the individual. That level is advanced by authentic meditation and prayer life. And I know that I'm speaking to a mixed audience. Some will have a faith life and some may not be believers. But even those who aren't believers will probably see the necessity for inner collectedness, inner calm, and having a clear focus. Because you can only offer what you already receive or what is already present within you. And if you are conflicted, the chances are you're going to magnify, amplify the conflicts around you. So intrapersonal conflict resolution is the first level. If we go a level out from there, and we are progressing from the most interior to the most exterior levels of conflict resolution, the next level, the second level, would be interpersonal conflict resolution. So intra means within, and inter is between. These spaces between are going to be very important for us. In this case, we're talking about the space within a relationship between two people. It might be between a brother and a sister, it might be between a husband and a wife, it might be between a parent and a child, it might be between a boss and an employee, two partners of some kind. Any two human beings that encounter each other and have the potential for making a meaningful relationship is the interpersonal level. Now, obviously, there are various modalities and techniques that people use to conduct conflict resolution at the interpersonal level. For example, counselling. A marriage counsellor would be engaged in some such activity. Again, to be authentic peacemakers, we need to be working continuously, not only on our own interior peace and state of mind, but we need to be working continuously on our interpersonal relationships. Are there people in our lives with whom there's been a breakdown in relationship, with whom there are persistent grievances, either from me towards that person or that person towards me? What is the role of forgiveness? And how do I make sure that I'm not neglecting the interpersonal level of conflict resolution to get out there and be a recognised peacemaker, or to do it on a global scale, and so on and so forth? The third level of ICR, the third I in ICR, is for intra-faith conflict resolution. Intra, again, means within. So the suggestion here is that whoever you are, there's a natural group of people who are most closely associated philosophically and ideologically with yourself.
Like-minded.
Like-minded people, birds of a feather flock together. Now, some people adhere to organised religion. They may be church goers, mosque goers, synagogue goers, temple goers. They have their own religious community. But even for those people, there are conflicts within their group, within their faith group, and indeed long-standing conflicts within their faith tradition. For example, amongst Christians, there are conflicts of long-standing, of centuries standing, between Protestants and Catholics and Orthodox and so on. Within the Islamic Ummah or community, there are conflicts between Sunni and Shia, for example. And then you will find that there are conflicts within each branch of Islam. There are Orthodox and Reform Jews and Hasidic Jews, and there are different groupings within what we might call Judaism. And the same can be said for other religions, like the Theravada and the Mahayana path within Buddhism. And it's not always easy for a faith practitioner to understand, have good relations, reconcile with their fellow faith practitioners, because they do belong essentially to a group. Why do I say that? Because that group engages the wider world, the group of people of your faith tradition, of your ideological grouping. And I extend it to ideological grouping because the agnostics and the atheists too will probably find themselves gravitating to birds of a feather. There are humanist groups, secular groups, groups of secular humanists that get together and share their insights and understandings and try to help each other understand things. A big grouping today might be styled spiritual but not religious. There's a growing section of the world community that has stopped practicing organised religion. They've stopped going to places of worship and relating to the communities pertaining to those places of worship. Nevertheless, they have a spiritual life. They will usually are very upfront about acknowledging that they're spiritual but not religious. And they think of themselves initially as having their own spiritual path.
Yes.
It could be a cocktail or a medley of things. They might practice a bit of yoga or a bit of meditation, a bit of Tai Chi. And they've conceived of their own path towards ultimate reality. Now, it's true, every authentic faith practice needs to have a lively spiritual and interior life. Otherwise, if we just go through the motions, it's dead ritual. But there is also something that's not quite complete in the picture of somebody who is following their spiritual path in a very isolated way, because I think it is very natural, that it's a natural extension of following a spiritual path to want to join in, to want to associate with people who are following a similar spiritual path. And inevitably, such spiritual but not religious people do associate, and there will be different levels of organisation in their associations. They may just start as casual meetings, but they go on from there. So the intra-faith conflict resolution, and I trust that these words will appear on the screen as well, just so that you've got them clearly in your head, are the conflicts that exist between members of an ideological grouping, a faith tradition. That leaves the fourth level, and that's the broadest level, and that's the global level, which is being particularly energized at this time, because the world has never been so connected as it is at present through telecommunications technology, the internet, travel, and the integration of economy, and so on. So we have different faith traditions which have moulded different civilizations relating to each other. How does world Christianity relate to world Islam, relate to world Hinduism? For example, in India, the BJP party is very mindful of the traditions of India, the old name for which was Hindustan, and they want to promote their traditions. And they'll look out, they believe that they have an authentic civilizational sphere of influence which has a forming effect on everybody who lives within it. And it's the same with people living in India, and they'll look out from there, or it's the same as people living in Russia under that Russian Orthodox tradition. And Russia as a whole will engage the world to a large degree through that lens. So interfaith conflict resolution is about conflict resolution between different faith groupings and different ideological groupings. What we call the West today, which used to be Christian, and which some people would say is now in a post-Christian period, and yet there are signs of Christian survival in the traditional Western countries. What we call the West today is largely secular, and so it is working with a liberal secular philosophy that has grown in strength, has been particularly strong since the end of the Second World War. And there's a whole world order, sometimes referred to as the liberal international world order, associated with that belief system. And it's a belief system that goes back to the European Enlightenment. So there's already centuries of tradition in that. And this modern Enlightenment-inspired liberal world order is coming into contact, and it's coming into friction with other cultural and civilizational zones which may be dominated by other ideologies. In the People's Republic of China, there is a blend of atheism, but some of their earlier traditions are being revived, including Taoism and Confucianism, which help to form character and condition.
Meaning of life as well.
Meaning of life, yes. It helps to form character, and it conditions the way not just individuals look out into the world, but the whole of Chinese society. Indeed, the formal organisation of state looks out at the international order and relates to other nations and other civilizations. So inter-faith, between faith traditions and ideological traditions, is a legitimate domain of conflict resolution. These are the 4 domains of conflict resolution.